Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here on This Is Now. I'm Dylan Ancheta, and today we welcome back our Ashley Nagaoka to the Digital Center. We begin with a gruesome story out of Mililani where an arrest has been made after a rather frightening discovery at the high school earlier this morning.
That's right. A body was found in a burned out vehicle in the school's parking lot this morning, and a 25-year-old man has been arrested with second-degree murder. Now, Casey Lund has the latest details.
Aloha from Mililani High School. We're here at the southern part of the campus. This is near some of the athletic fields. Again, important to note that the school is on spring break. I was able to talk to representatives that were holding the gate closed out here on campus property. They say there really wasn't any impact to students or classes. That's the good news. Here's what we know about this. The call came into HFD, a vehicle fire, at around 6:50 this morning, just before 7. They arrived. They were able to get that fire out, and then eventually, though, discovered an unresponsive female inside the back of that vehicle. It had been burned. Witnesses say they had seen earlier a man opening and closing those doors. This is what Lieutenant Dina Thames said about how HPD was able to track him down.
Witnesses continued to follow that male until the other officers arrived. Officers were able to locate the male and detained him until he was positively identified by the witnesses. Witnesses also reported that when he was walking away from the vehicle, he was carrying some type of bladed weapon. Officers then arrested the male suspect who they had detained for murder in the second degree. The suspect is 25 years old male.
We don't know the identity of that male suspect. We also don't know the identity or even the age of the female victim. Again, still a lot to piece together here, but Dina said it was good news that they believe they have the person that they were looking for. We'll continue to keep you updated here as we learn more details at Mililani High School. Reporting in Mililani, I'm Casey Lund. For now, we'll send things back to you.
A former Mililani High School athletic director accused of stealing more than $400,000 from the school's booster club pleaded not guilty to theft charges in court today. Glenn Nita was indicted last week on 8 counts of theft and false reporting. Nita retired from the position back in 2021. He turned himself into the sheriff's division last week and was released after posting $500,000 bail.
On Hawaii Island, an attempted murder suspect was captured after a days-long manhunt. He's set to appear in court this afternoon. Police started searching for 44-year-old Ronald Kahihikolo last Tuesday when he allegedly shot and injured a woman in Ocean View after an apparent domestic dispute. On Friday, he fled from police in Kona after they opened fire, killing another suspect. Kahihikolo then led officers to the other side of the island, where they eventually caught up with him just before 11 a.m. Saturday morning in Kalopa, roughly 30 miles north of Hilo. Hawaii Island police say Kahihikolo was found largely in thanks to a vigilant resident who called in a tip.
We got assistance from the FBI, from the U.S. Marshals, from Honolulu, DLNR. Hawaii Fire Department brought out their chopper actually to help us search. We did an extensive ground search, air search for probably 8 to 10 hours last night. We were unable to locate the suspect. A little before 11 o'clock this morning, we got information that somebody had called police dispatch and reported possibly seeing the wanted individual in the same area where we were last night. So we started to head out there, and then while we're on our way, we were just leaving the station, we got word that Hamakua patrol officers actually located him and arrested him.
He faces a long list of charges, including attempted murder and abuse of a family member. His bail is set at $263,000.
Now, the manhunt for Kahihikolo was not only lengthy, but deadly. We spoke to the mother of one of the men killed by police in Kona, where the incident started. Loved ones identified the suspect shot and killed as Kainoa Kahele Bishop. He was fatally shot by police during a traffic stop following a pursuit. Police say he was driving a stolen car and repeatedly ignored their commands. We're told 2 officers opened fire on Bishop when they saw him reaching for something, and his connection to Kahihikolo remains unknown. Bishop's mother says she's had very little communication with the Hawaii Island Police Department so far.
My question is, my son wasn't the attempted murder suspect, but my son was shot dead. I just don't know how that adds up.
Also arrested is Jacqueline Keana Aina, who was a passenger in one of the stolen cars. Her bail is set at $323,000, and she also appeared in court today.
Now to a travel advisory for passengers flying out of Hilo. Hours-long delays were reported this morning after TSA officials said there was an equipment failure impacting their ability to screen carry-on bags. They have a technician on site and are hoping to get things running smoothly at some point today. They're urging travelers to arrive as early as 3 hours prior to the flight departure time. Also, consider checking your bags.
2 people were taken to the hospital after a driver plowed through the plate glass window at the running room on Kapahulu Avenue. The car ended up all the way inside the store, sending shoe racks flying towards employees and customers who were shopping. It happened just before 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. A food vendor who was set up on the sidewalk outside described the moments leading up to the crash.
He was coming so fast, he didn't hit the brakes at all. I literally just jumped backwards over my chair. He actually hit the table and went right through the glass over there.
I'm still kind of shaking. My mind's not really being real smooth with me right now, but it's a lot of shock that I'm feeling.
EMS says a man in his 60s and a woman in her 40s were taken to the hospital in serious condition. The cause of the crash is under investigation, and the initial damage estimate is about $15,000.
A man is in critical condition after being struck by a car in Wahiawa. Police say he was hit near the intersection of California Avenue and Mango Street at around 8 o'clock last night. We're told the man was not in a marked crosswalk. The driver did stay on scene.
Honolulu police officers are one step closer to getting a work schedule change. The police union has agreed to endorse weekly shifts made up of 3 12-hour days. HPD tested the schedule in 2 districts last year as part of a pilot program. The change would still require approval from the department and the city, but the union endorsement is a key step. On the heels of a bank collapse and another bank shutdown, President Biden is trying to reassure Americans and the markets that the country's banking system is safe. Karen Kaifa reports from Washington.
President Joe Biden trying to instill confidence in the American banking system after Silicon Valley Bank collapsed and Signature Bank was shut down by regulators, both within days of each other.
Americans can have confidence that the banking system is safe.
Biden said customers of the failed banks would have access to their money Monday. The funds coming from the Federal Deposit Insurance Fund, which banks pay into, and not from taxpayers. Biden also said investors took a knowing risk in the failed banks and would not be protected, and the bank's leaders fired. Silicon Valley Bank was little known to most Americans outside of the startup world before depositors hastily withdrew $42 billion last Thursday in a classic bank run amid anxiety about SVB's financial health. The Biden administration's plan was relief to customers like Stefan Kalb.
It's odd to think about it now, but just even a week ago, Silicon Valley Bank was the gold standard. We are expecting Silicon Valley Bank to be around.
On Sunday, New York state regulators seized Signature Bank, a big lender to the cryptocurrency industry. Fears of other regional banks on the brink are raising eyebrows about how they're regulated, with less stringent rules than those put in place for the major financial institutions after the 2008 financial crisis.
The problem is, because of those regulations, a lot of the business they were doing has migrated to the less regulated parts of the financial sector, which are now pretty big.
Meanwhile, the Securities and Exchange Commission said Monday it's on high alert for any misconduct amid the recent banking turmoil. In Washington, I'm Karen K5.
A near record low unemployment rate, a strong job market, and strong consumer spending. Right off the top, these things sound great, but experts say at some point they could have an adverse impact on the economy. Gloria Pazmino explains.
As the U.S. unemployment level has hovered around record lows, ticking up to 3.6% for February, it's been causing inflation to skyrocket.
The tighter the job market, the stronger the pressure on employers to boost wages and lift their own production costs.
And causing the U.S. Federal Reserve to raise interest rates to try and tamp it down. Gary Burtless, a senior fellow in economic studies at the Brookings Institution, says over the past few months, there has only been around one unemployed worker for every 2 jobs available, intensifying inflation more rapidly than we are used to.
That is why the good news about unemployment and new increases in the number of people who are employed will result in pressure on the Fed to slow down the economy and reduce price pressures, wage pressures that tend to be contributing to inflation in the economy.
So when will the Fed be happy and take their foot off the brake? Burtless says the sweet spot is around 5% unemployment and 2% inflation. In New York, I'm Gloria Pazmino.
The famous original Pancake House on Kapiolani Boulevard shut down abruptly. We're told the restaurant officially closed on February 20th due to a shortage of cooks, but the owner says it was just one of the problems she faced at that location.
I feel so sad. And then, I never had time to apologize to the customer to let them know. I just suddenly closed that,
The owner tells us she was also dealing with sewer problems and fire safety issues within the restaurant. She tells us she's thinking about reopening at a different location.
Hawaii County Mayor Mitch Roth delivers his State of the County address this afternoon. His office says he'll touch on some key issues, including homelessness, economic development, building permitting, and the Mauna Loa eruption. His comments will stream live on the mayor's Facebook page and Hawaii News Now digital platforms at 1 p.m. Also happening tomorrow, Kauai Mayor Derek Kawakami will hold his State of the County address at the Lihue Civic Center. His speech starts at 9 a.m. and will be live streamed on the Kauai County Facebook page as well as the county's website. Mayor Rick Blangiardi will also deliver his State of the City address. He'll speak from the Mission Memorial Auditorium at 11 a.m., and we will be streaming that live on KGMB, K5, and the digital platforms.
Honolulu's leaders may soon see a bump in their pay. Honolulu Civil Beat reports a city commission is considering raises for over 50 officials. One proposal would bump Mayor Rick Blangiardi's salary from about $186,000 to over $218,000. City council members would see an even bigger difference, with Chair Tommy Waters potentially going from under $77,000 a year to more than double that, nearly $195,000. Proposals with more modest raises are also on the table. A public hearing on the matter has been set for March 21st. Family and friends gathered at St. Louis School yesterday to celebrate the life of legendary sportscaster Jim Leahy. Kyle Chinen takes us there.
An icon. That's how those closest to him described Jim Leahy today during his celebration of life, where friends, families, and fellow sportscasters bid him one final aloha.
The guy was a legend.
He pretty much taught me everything that I know.
It was an afternoon filled with tears and laughter as hundreds filled St. Louis's Ching Center to pay their respects to Jim and his entire ohana.
It's just been really overwhelmingly beautiful, the response from people, the outreach, people that have shared stories, that have shared aloha, that have talked about how my dad just, in his little way, gave them just a small piece of joy.
This day, the true embodiment of what made Jim happy, bringing people together.
He loved this place. He loved the people of Hawaii. This was home.
And the people of Hawaii loved him.
He was always so welcoming, so congenial, so educated about the sport. Yeah.
Fans remembering the bonds he created on and off of the playing surface.
And when I went to the volleyball games, I had to buy him his coffee, and when I was late, he would always say, look at his watch and say, You're late. Where's my coffee?
Many of Jim's family and former broadcast partners took the stage to share fond memories of the man they called Pops.
And I could be up there for hours talking about what we've done over the past 50 years. But what comes to mind first is just what a pro the guy was.
I think of Jim all the time when I call games with Kanoa, because Kanoa brings in so many Jim-isms into the broadcast, and it makes me very nostalgic.
Jim Leahy leaves behind a legacy that will never be forgotten.
Love you, Dad. I miss you. But I do know you're with us in spirit. And as you would say,
Kyle Chinen, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you so much, Kyle. Now, happy Aloha Monday, everyone. Here's a live look outside with our tower cam toward Punch Bowl. You can see sunshine, blue skies, and those cumulus clouds. Now, Guy Hagi tells us there may be parts of the state may see some rain today. Here's a look at your weekday forecast.
We got light winds, right? Because of that passing front up to the north, that atmospheric river. We're not going to see much rain, and we're not going to see much in the way of strong winds anytime soon. And the trend will be for the winds to come out of south and southwest for the rest of the week, it looks like. And because of those light winds, there might be a little bit of particulate, some bit fog in the air for the next several days. Now, the next chance for rain is mainly for Kauai and Oahu starting tomorrow. A weak front's going to drop in, likely lingering over Kauai through Wednesday, but the rest of the state likely see much drier conditions, although because of the light winds, there's always the chance for afternoon spotty downpours on the Kona side of Hawaii Island. Otherwise, get ready for a long stretch of really, really nice weather. Granted, it could be a little bit warmer for some leeward spots, but otherwise, make plans for lots of sunshine over the next several days.
The Honolulu Festival came to a dazzling finish last night with the Nagaoka fireworks show lighting up the skies over Waikiki. It was the grand finale to the 3-day event, which hasn't happened since the onset of the pandemic. Thousands also lined the street for the massive 4-hour-long parade that featured cultural programs from around the Pacific. The festival also included a bun dance, food and craft fairs, along with exhibits and performances showcasing Pan-Pacific cultures.
Today, Pope Francis marks 10 years as the head of the Roman Catholic Church. Chris Livesay takes us to London.
10 years have passed since Pope Francis stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Cathedral as the first Latin American pontiff.
Buonasera.
Succeeding Benedict XVI, who had become the first pope in 6 centuries to resign.
After Benedict, the great theologian, after John Paul II, the great evangelizer, people needed a pope close to them. Francis, in many ways, has been transformative.
Pope Francis celebrated the first decade of his papacy Monday in a private mass with cardinals at the Vatican, after releasing his first podcast, or Popecast, as it's been called. The 86-year-old reportedly asked aides, "What's a podcast?" and then jumped into conversation, saying it seems like yesterday that he was elected pope, and that the best gift on his anniversary would be peace. We need peace, he said. Taking his name after St. Francis of Assisi, Pope Francis shunned the lavish papal apartments, residing instead in a modest hotel for visiting priests. He's washed prisoners' feet, advocated for refugees and migrants, even cracked open the door for the LGBT community with a single phrase, "Who am I to judge?" But despite setting up new standards for reporting clerical sex abuse, victims say there haven't been enough consequences for bishops accused of harboring predator priests.
Right now, it is appearing that no one has done less than this papacy itself.
Still, supporters call his first 10 years as Pope the Francis Revolution, crediting him with choosing service and kindness over the power of the papacy. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Rome.
Last night's Academy Awards was another one for the history books, and Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier was there for it all. Kevin?
Aloha, Dylan. Hollywood rolled out the champagne-colored carpet for movie's biggest night, and it did not disappoint, especially if you're a fan of a little movie about the multiverse.
And the Oscar goes to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Walking away with 7 major awards, including Best Picture, Everything Everywhere dominated the Oscars and made history.
And the Oscar goes to Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle's Best Actress victory made her the first Asian performer to ever win the award.
For all the little boys and girls who look like me watching tonight, this is a beacon of hope and possibilities.
It's a historical win, and, well, just hope that I'm not the last. This is just the beginning.
And the Oscar goes to Kiwi Kwan.
Michelle's co-star Kiwi Kwan also won for Best Supporting Actor and dedicated his award to someone very special.
My mom is 84 years old, and she's at home watching. Mom, I just want an Oscar.
The show was full of great moments, from Rihanna's performance of Lift Me Up to Lady Gaga's stripped-down version of Hold My Hand.
I won't let go till the end.
Host Jimmy Kimmel led the mostly drama-free night and even surprised Colin Farrell with a special surprise.
And Jenny, I want you to see, there's your friend Colin right there.
Where is the donkey and where did she retire?
Jenny,
Where did Jenny
early retirement.
Early retirement, yeah.
She said one and done.
Hey, and that's just a sneak peek at ET's Oscar coverage. Make sure you tune in for interviews with all the winners, plus the parties, the fashion, the couples, who was missing, and everything you didn't see behind the scenes. For Entertainment Tonight, I'm Kevin Frazier.
All right, time for some good news. Now, this is pretty cool. Lunchables will soon become part of the school lunch program. Now, Kraft Heinz, the company behind Lunchables, said 2 new varieties will be in school cafeterias this fall: Lunchables Turkey and Cheddar Cracker Stackers and Lunchables Extra Cheesy Pizza. These are different from those you find in the grocery stores. Now, the company says they have improved the nutrition that meets federal guidelines for the National School Lunch Program. And I want kids to know these days that back in the day when I was in school, this was a treat. This was like for field trips only.
Oh, Lunchables. I never ate much of them as a kid.
Because they were a treat.
Because they were a treat, yes. We also want to show you, take a look here. These are the first official stamps featuring King Charles III. It's by the Royal Mail, the postal service in the United Kingdom. This one shows the monarch facing left without a crown. Unlike his late mother's iconic stamp. It comes from an image created for new coins featuring the king. The standard first-class stamps will be available for pre-order starting Tuesday and for sale on April 4th. And again, the United Kingdom is gearing up for his royal coronation. That's happening, I believe, May 6th. So that's going to be a big event there in the United Kingdom, and for sure we will definitely be bringing you more stories leading up until that point. Really quickly, I also want to give you guys one more live look outside. That is Punch Bowl. Look at how green it's been.
I know, lots of rain.
That is a sign of the rain that we have been having. And someone who wasn't here for all of the severe weather coverage is our very own Ashley. Yes. Welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Tell everyone, where have you been?
So I was on maternity leave for the last 3 months. Thank you so much to you and Mark and the rest of the team for covering in the meantime. You guys did outstanding. But yeah, I was at home. It was raining, so I was at home. It was windy every day.
She got to just enjoy the weather instead of working the severe weather. Really quickly, what has, motherhood been like for you?
It's wild. I have a new appreciation for parents, especially moms. I'm very lucky. We have a great support system at home with my mom, Haku's parents who are watching the kids, helping watch the Maverick. But it's nice to be here too, you know, to get the brain working again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we definitely missed you, Ashley. There's been so many changes here, but all good changes here. So welcome back once again. Ashley is going to be anchoring again, first at 4 this afternoon. She's just getting right back into it. Again, it is a live look out here over Punch Bowl. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon. We thank you guys so much for sticking with us and watching This Is Now. Be sure to stay tuned for the Hawaii County State of the City Address.